Happy podcast day.
Thanks, babe.
It's a good day. I love every day we get to do a podcast. Though it's always a little crazy.
Yeah, I don't like getting ready. I think I've probably said that several times.
Yeah, I think that's just a truth in life.
Mantra.
Listen, episode 14. I have no biblical numbers to offer. Does 14 mean anything in the Bible?
No, but
It's unfortunate. We're going to make it mean something.
I am remembering my friend's birthday is October 15th.
Oh, yeah.
When you said 14, happy birthday, Aaron. I'll call you later.
Happy belated birthday.
Late.
And today is the podcast is going to be big news podcast. The biggest news of all is that we're going to get a dog.
Well, that's the plan.
That's the plan. Listen, okay.
We have several reasons for not having a dog. I'll say the first reason is we had a pet.
The list.
We had a pet bearded dragon.
Yeah.
And I loved him so much.
Yes.
And he died.
Yes.
And I cried myself to sleep 3 nights in a row. Jake was 14, maybe 13. He was just a
13.
big gangly kid. He slept Phil got kicked out of the bed. But Jake and I slept in the same bed and cried.
It was devastation.
We just cried ourselves to sleep several.
I
also kept his body in our bathroom in a shoebox for a few days, and I would lay hands on it and pray every day.
Believed in hoping for resurrection.
Why wouldn't I?
Why
wouldn't I? And nothing happened. So after 3 days, we did bury him.
We waited with a biblical 3 days.
Yeah. I mean, God knows what we're working with. 3 days. So I just think if I was that attached to a lizard,
yes,
I'm having a hard time comprehending.
We really
because if we do get a dog, when we get a dog, it will pass away once my kids are all out of the house.
Yes.
It will be devastation. I'm
kind of. I think
looking down the barrel of devastation.
If there's any track record of families I know, you'll kind of be happy when that happens.
We'll see. Anyways,
we'll
that's the first reason.
We'll just give it away to one of our kids.
No, we won't. We won't give it away, babe. You can't say that. They won't let us adopt one.
No, not like.
We'll just leave it on the street and we're sick of it. We won't do that.
Okay,
let us adopt.
Listen, I know people are listening to this that we are, pet people. We are not pet people. The truth is we've wanted to have a dog for a long time. Our life is unique. We travel a decent amount. We've always just kind of felt that tension of what we can't add to the layer of our life is every time we're out of town or every time something happens.
We're like, do you want to watch 4 kids and a dog?
Take care of a dog.
Different ask than.
And our kids have been younger. And
want to ask?
We haven't had the right space in our house, all of those things. But it's been really interesting because actually, it's not just that we've kind of made that decision. Part of it is behind the scenes. We've been talking for a while of actually the mark of getting our life into balance. The kind of becoming the measurement of going, we feel called into the season of doing a little bit less, of restriction, that God's been really clear to us. And the sign of knowing we've arrived
the litmus
there is we have a life that can handle a dog.
Yeah. We're we're proactively, we are going to get a dog in faith that it will. We're making space. But it's like if our life doesn't handle a dog, we're not doing it right.
Yeah.
So, if I can't take a dog on a walk every day, we're not doing it right.
We're there. And I'm so excited, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And we did. So in the story, there was a moment where a runaway dog found our house. This is 3 years ago?
Yes.
And had no tag, but it was clearly a dog that had an owner. It was
our kids named it Emmett, and he responded to Emmett.
It was the craziest
I think he would have
experience.
responded to anything we called him, but he
was
like,
we weren't in a season where we could just have.
I think the next week we were going overseas.
Right. We held this dog for a while, hoping to find an owner. We put things out. We didn't. We did the right thing, which you should always do, is you take it to the shelter so that if an owner's looking for it, they could find it. And I still remember that we had the first chance of refusal. Yeah. That if the owner didn't come and claim it, and we loved this dog. I mean, for like that few days, it was as if suddenly we had another family member.
He slept in our kid's bed. It was so
he
dangerous, probably. I didn't even know that dog.
He was so sweet.
He was so cute.
I would lay down on the couch, and he would come and lay on my chest. I mean, it was just the sweetest. And we just knew that we didn't have the right space. And we basically had agreed, if nobody was there to adopt him, if nobody else had signed up, we were going to. because we kind of bond, but there was multiple.
Yeah. There was
waiting.
a wait list to adopt him.
And so we released him, and we have lived in the twinge of maybe regret since then. And our kids have been asking. And so I can't wait. This is going to be fun. And hopefully maybe, by the next episode or two, we'll be able to introduce our new.
Wow, that sounds great. I don't know.
What are you most excited about having a dog?
I think I am most excited to like have that fun affection with a little thing again. Maybe that's just the mom in me. Like I love the age of our kids. But when I look back on pictures of like 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-old kids, I'm like, oh, that little, they run up to you and they're just blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
Like I'm at this point excited for that with a dog. Just like that affectionate relationship. I will probably get annoyed with it too, but I know that going in.
Yeah. I think I'm excited to have a really concrete reason to tell the kids to get out of the house.
Like go walk the dog.
Go away from me. I'm joking. I am. I actually am excited.
You're excited for the dog so the kids go away
from me.
and
No.
I'm excited for a dog because it reminds me of the kids.
No, I'm joking. I am actually. It'll be really great in the war against screens in our lives. But I actually am just. I mean, I think I have that really naive, excited. There's just a sweetness about the love of an animal and a companion. I mean, I know why people love their pets. I had a pet growing up. I had a cat growing up. Don't judge me, all you dog people. But I loved that stupid cat. She was not nice. I still loved her so much, and it was such a joy in our lives. And I've always wanted a dog. And I actually just think it's a part of like God's created reality that there is a bond that happens between humans and animals and I can't wait for it. I really can't wait for it. And I know I'm going to have so many moments like, why did we do this?
I know we will. I almost got another bearded dragon the other day. We were at the pet store. I'm like, $70?
This is the first time you've told me that.
No, I texted you and I said, I'm going to get this.
saw it.
He was so cute.
I never saw it.
We have the cage and everything.
Go
fund me $70 so I can get another bearded dragon. And they can be friends with the dog.
But I was shocked when Frisk, our bearded dragon, died. Not just the impact it had on our family, on me. I was heartbroken. So, anyways,
is too much talk about animals, maybe.
But it's going to be really exciting. So big things happening in the Magdalene House.
Big first news.
And actually, today's podcast is really unique, and it's a conversation that you and I want to have and have together and have just in the heart of the season, just actually about such a significant and important need that we have about what it means to trust God in hard news, what it means to trust God in unknown things, what it means to trust God when you're walking through seasons of life you would never choose. And the reason we're having that conversation is because the big news that we're sharing is not that we're getting a dog. It's that I've been walking through a health journey and have been diagnosed with colon cancer. And my guess is if you're listening to this, you may have already heard this prior to the podcast coming out. I shared with the Square, my church family, and inevitably kind of as I invited my church family in just kind of publicly. I would just say if you haven't listened to that Sunday, I would really encourage you to go listen to it. If you're part of our church family, I'm sure you have, but if you haven't, do. But for those that just are connected to us outside of it, it's not just where I take time to share kind of what we're walking through practically and inviting my church in, but share a lot of my heart about who God is and what we know about him. But a lot of that is also in the heart of the podcast, but they're a little bit of two different conversations. And so part of what we want to do is just in the wake of our life, we are being invited into a season of news we didn't want, news we didn't expect, and who God is in the midst of it. And I just think there's something as we process to just be able to invite those in because, one of the things that happens when you walk through difficulty is it gives you eyes to see things that maybe you just didn't see before. And specifically for me, the clarity on how many people are walking through hardship.
Yeah.
And how many people are walking through sickness. How many people have faced cancer. How many people love people who have faced cancer. How many people who I know have had pretty amazing, miraculous stories of healing and recovery from cancer. And how many people I know who have watched somebody they love die from cancer. And so I think for us, this is it's just an important conversation. Now, if you are hearing this for the first time, let me just kind of share a little bit of the bigger picture. I, over the last 3 months, have just been having like kind of health issues. I've had long-term, like, GI gut things things that kind of come and go. And it was really interesting because in my life, I'm kind of one of those people that just is like, well, push it to the side. It's fine. It's not a big deal, whatever. But this time it felt a little different. It wasn't the kind of thing that would scream emergency, but it caught my attention. I just see even the kindness of God in that. And so I began a series of doctor visits trying to figure out what was going on, many different things. And in the end, they found colon cancer, and kind of have over the last month or 3 weeks have just been understanding what that means, understanding what that requires for me, for us, for as our church. And the good news in the bad news is that in immediately finding cancer, they put me through every kind of test and blood test and CT scan that's out there. And it has not spread. And so just incredibly grateful, so thankful. It does not minimize the severity of having cancer. There's no small cancer. But having colon cancer and having whatever that would mean, a spread of cancer, a stage 4 of some kind of cancer, they are two different stories. I know that. And I'm so thankful for that. And really, I mean, when we got that news, this wave of relief flew through our family, which was really significant. And I think by the time this podcast is coming out, I'll have had surgery to remove that part of my colon. And I don't know how this works with all cancers. I just kind of am learning, but specific to colon cancer, what all of the scans and tests showed is that it hasn't spread, but what it doesn't show is how far it's developed in my colon.
Yeah. And
so what stage is it? What is required from it? I don't even know those things right now. And this is a little too oversimplistic, but if it's at stage 1, it sounds like all I'll need is surgery. If it's stage 2, stage 3, which my doctors have communicated there's a chance of that, I'll need to have chemo on the other side of surgery and in the hospital and the recovery. And so you and I are walking through that news and walking through that uncertainty and trusting God in the midst of this. And I'm 43. I don't think anyone ever expects to go to the doctor and be told they have cancer. But certainly I didn't expect this. And man, it's just been a journey. It's been a journey of so many challenges, but in this undeniable way that I cannot describe fully, has so been under the love, care, and leadership of Jesus. And so that's kind of the story, right? Walking into a season. It's also a very important season in our lives.
Yeah.
And so as pastors, we pastor the square. We love our church. We've been middle of a building project. Our new building is right at the end of being done. Our launch Sunday is December 7th, which is going to be incredible. And of course, this next 6-7 weeks are this massive transition point of moving from mobile church back into our building, all of the final details. You and I are so centrally involved in all of these moments. And then it's like, oh, I'm going to be out for a while. And not only that impacts me or our family, but it impacts our community. And so having to get everything ready for that has been quite the journey, but a journey that Jesus is walking through with us. So that's our news, and that's my news. And I think for us, there is just an understanding of who God is in trial, who God is in sickness, who God is in uncertainty. And as we talk through this, my hope is that anyone who's listening with us will just find the same things that we've found, no matter what they're walking through. So that's our news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a temptation when you get bad news is comparison. I think we compare all the time, and I don't think it's always like a self-centered comparison, but it's the way you frame your experience as a human is by nature compared to other experiences of people as a human.
Yeah.
You're just,
Oh, it's true.
you just, that's a framework we live in, is what I'm going through different, harder, worse. You try to find people who've gone through the same thing, try to find people who, have the same convictions as you. And there's just not comparison in the thief of joy, but the comparison of like trying to find a puzzle piece that fits your piece in your experience. But I also think that proclivity can lead us to focusing on the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Because it is always easier, I think, to find someone who has suffered less than you. And then you can ask why. Or you can easily see people who have suffered more than you. And then you kind of carry that guilt of like,
it's true.
I shouldn't feel this way because someone else has it worse. It's hard just to live in your lane. But I think in this season, what I've been reminded of is like to not look to the left or the right. People who've suffered more, so much suffering, like you were talking about. People who've suffered less. But like what I want to compare it to is finding the goodness of God in it.
Yeah.
Not the goodness of God in someone else's story, but the goodness of God in our story. And when that becomes a litmus test I hold my experiences up to, it's there. The only reason you can't find the goodness of God in a situation is because you've given up looking for it. It doesn't mean that it's easy to find or that you feel it, certainly. Yeah. But even in our story already, the goodness of God, like he told me to move to part-time this fall. We didn't know why, but we got everything set in place and
told us to
I can take
cancel
a
our
month
travel
off. We
schedules,
didn't travel.
Slow down
this fall and to really focus on the family. Like a lot of, I felt like my commission from the Lord was to cultivate moments as the six of us. And so I feel like all of that's in place and we can both take time off work and everything's running smoothly. And that's a goodness, obviously the goodness of God, that it isn't a worse kind of spreading in your body. That was the scariest thing of like, there's a point where there really is nothing but a miracle can save. Not that I don't believe in miracles, and we'll talk about that, but it's like feels a little more controllable. It's never a done deal, but a little more like we know we can follow. I can mentally follow along the prognosis. Yes. That's helpful for me. And then
it's interesting. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, just that when the man who is blind, Jesus comes and interacts with the people and they go, who sinned that this man was born blind, him or his parents? And Jesus says, neither, but this was like this, what does it say exactly? He says, he was born blind so that God's works might be revealed in him. And you're like, well, that, I mean, you can twist that to God purposely made someone suffer their whole life so that he could heal them later. Or you can see the goodness of God and say, would we not give our whole lives that God would be glorified anyways? So why not in sickness? And like whatever your story is, babe, I keep thinking this, like It doesn't matter how your story ends. God's goodness can be shown through it, and his works can be revealed in you. And if we're willing to give our lives for the gospel, like we say we are, we should be willing to give our bodies for the gospel, our sickness for the gospel, our health for the gospel, our finances for the gospel. If God's like, hey, my works can be revealed in this situation, my suffering doesn't make his goodness there or not there. It's that his works can be revealed. And what if people come to Christ through this? What if other people get healed through this? There's just so much he can do.
Yeah.
So yeah, to not compare our story with someone else's, because you'll always feel worse about yourself.
Oh, it's so
but
true.
to compare our story with like the story of God.
Well, and you're speaking to so many things that we'll even touch into just as we process together. But for me, I think there is this, if I can say one thing, and I'll say it again and I'll come back to this, but if there's one thing that I want to proclaim, I want to testify, I want to communicate, is about the unshakable goodness of God. And I think that I've known this before, but certainly it is freshly in front of me, that all of life comes down to one question. And it is God good? And what I'm learning is when that question is settled, you can handle all the questions you don't have answers to. Mm-hmm. But when that question isn't settled, it doesn't matter what answers you have. You're not whole. And I believe more than anything, what I would just say is I long that people would settle on the one thing, that there is nothing that can bring into question the remarkable goodness of Jesus. And it doesn't mean we minimize suffering, because in that whole comparison trap, what's true is that suffering is so real and people suffer so horribly. And I understand where we wrestle with that. But what I know is that the cross of Jesus has settled the character of God. There is nothing he ever needs to say to me, though I long for him to speak to me. There's nothing he ever needs to do for me, though I long for him to heal me, that ever needs to be stated again of, is he good and does he love me? Mm-hmm. Because the laying down of his life was the proof of his love. And the taking on of my sin was the proof of his goodness. And so I think there's just a peace there. There's just a peace there. And when I first found out the news, I felt this peace. But I also was like, I have no idea. Am I in shock?
Right.
Is this shock? Is this faith? Is this whatever it is? I don't know. Right. And I don't know. And I don't need to, but here's the good news in that. When you're settled on the goodness of God, you don't need to pretend. Mm-hmm. I don't need to be better than I am. I don't need to be holier than I am. I don't need to know more than I don't.
Your faith.
Like, I don't know. I can tell you I'm enough weeks in to go, whatever shock I was there, it might still be lingering around in forms. But I'm definitely living in faith. Now, would I be in the same heart posture if we had found out it had spread? I don't know. I think I would be saying the exact same thing. But again, I'm not here to pretend that every story is the same or that we're the same. Now, God is the same. But I think that's the challenge, is how do we be a people who know that God is good no matter what we face? For me, there's been 2 moments of fear. Mm-hmm. And one was literally about 5 minutes and it was intense. And the other was not as intense, but it required 3 or 4 hours. And I pulled you in and we talked and I went and prayed. And the first was when I they had found something and they didn't know what it was. And they looked at me, the doctors, when I went home, and they said, we're going to get results you'll hear back to us in 5 to 7 days. And then they called the next day.
Yeah.
And they said, we need to meet with you tomorrow. And I was like, oh, you were concerned. Mm-hmm. You rushed these results. You got them back very quickly. You're not telling me what is on the phone. This is bad news. And then just for like 5 minutes, this fear and flood of anxiety just ran through my body. And then the second was while we were waiting for the news of whether it had spread. Mm-hmm. And, I've shared this or not, people know I like cigars. I have enjoyed them in my life. And I just had this moment where the possibility of like, not only could this have spread, but maybe it's a worse cancer that spread to my colon, not a colon cancer that spread somewhere else, all those questions. And I just had this sudden feeling of what I was actually feeling was shame, regret, sadness. Well, this was the thought. What if I did this to myself? Mm-hmm. What if doing something I knew had harmful effects, though I kept it at a whatever appropriate level? What if I did this to myself? And it showed up like fear. But it was, and probably because it just had the unknown to it. But I know that the real emotions were shame and regret. In the unknown. I shared that with you. We prayed. I went and spent time with Jesus, and felt peace before I got the results back. And I think that it's been really interesting though how through this I have felt a profound peace, and we felt a profound peace, and it certainly is just the presence and the kindness of the Holy Spirit. He has been with us, the undeniable love of God through this story. But I also know that I think that peace is from an anchor that came before we found out the news, which is that my life and our life is built on this. I believe Jesus is who he says that he is, and I believe he's good. And I think it just reminds me of Jesus' teaching in the Sermon on the Mount, right? Those who build their house on the rock, though the storms come, the foundation won't crumble. Those who build their life on the sand, when the storms come, they will crumble. And I feel that. I feel the storm. And when you feel the storm, I feel my foundation. And it's not my foundation. It's the foundation of Jesus. I feel the security of him holding on to me. And it's just brought a lot of joy. Brought a lot of joy. But it's had the hard moments. Hardest was processing with our kids, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's been hard for you?
I don't think I'm facing, well, granted, I'm not the one who has that surgery. So yeah. I'm not facing the fear of the pain and suffering bodily or fear of going under. I mean, there's just a lot of things with medical procedures that are scary to face. I'm not facing those for myself. And I don't even think I'm facing fear for the coming steps. I'm like, I'm pretty good in crisis. It's like kind of where I thrive.
Yes.
Who needs emotions in crisis?
That's why our life's been in crisis. I know.
I've been thriving. No, but it's like I work really well when I have to like lock in. And so I'm not feeling fear for even the immediate steps. What the fear that I feel and that I think maybe other people feel that we can talk about is like you've been saying, this fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
Like there's a few things we know. We know we're all going to die. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert if you didn't know that.
And it's interesting. As you get older, you watch more people pass away, and it's twofold. It's one, because you are getting older. So the people you know are getting older, and like people that your life, your grandparents, your parents, and the people that were young when you were young are getting older as you're getting older. But also you're living more years. So there's like a breadth and a depth to experiencing people passing away because you're just living more years and seeing more people pass away. So I think the older I get, and we're not old at all, but the older I get, the more I'm like, oh, this is something I didn't have to think about in my 20s or early 30s. Unless you are faced a tragedy, you really don't have to think about it.
No.
And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, this is happening all around me. And you kind of have to wrestle through how you feel about death, but still it's at an arm's length. Like, how do I help people walk through this? And then I think an event like this, you're like, okay, now what about my own mortality?
Yeah.
How I have to wrestle through the fact that I will pass away. And for me, with it being your diagnosis, thinking like, I mean, I never really got to bargaining with God, but I was like, man, just working through what I would hate to live without you. That's my deepest fear. Yeah. But second to that, it's like, okay, I want you to walk Ariel down the aisle. Like, I want you to know your grandkids. And there are these things, I think the fears in that and thinking it doesn't matter if someone's had a diagnosis of cancer or any other sickness or have been healthy their whole life. There's still an unknown.
Yeah.
There's an unknown about our future. There's no guarantee.
Yeah.
And I know people whose parents weren't able to walk them down the aisle and friends whose husbands have passed away and they're raising kids.
And sweet people that we've loved who've died tragically in their teenage years, 20s, 30s, 40s,
So knowing death is inevitable is a lot different than stepping into facing the unknown of when, how, why, what it will happen, and having to find your anchor and your foundation in the unknown is hard for people. Yeah. It's like they think they'll be fine with it, and then when it gets face to face with them, they don't know. Yeah.
And I think it speaks, and I just, sharing with our kids, my oldest is, he's probably the one who is at the age to kind of at most, really understand and so close. And he's been amazing. And is such an older brother caring about his younger siblings. And my boys are probably a little young and too boyish to really fully grasp it. And, when we shared with Ariel, and it really affected her. And the next day this I think was this has been the single hardest moment for me. I was spending time with her, and she said, Dad, you're not going to be sick, right? I said, Ariel, I can't lie to you, babe. I can't answer that question. I'm going to be okay, though. And she goes, no, Dad, just tell me you're not going to be sick. And I was like, sweetheart, I can't lie to you. I don't know the answer to that question, but I'm going to be okay. And I just think that longing, the truth is what she's feeling is the same feeling. That longing to go, there's something out there in the unknown, and I just need security. And the invitation for us, and the invitation for all of us, is actually that security is never going to be found because I can answer the question, am I going to be sick or not? It's only going to be answered because whether I'm going to be sick or not, there's somebody who's with me. I'm going to be okay. And I'm going to be okay not because I'm going to be healed or have to go through chemo or have a journey or not a journey. I'm going to be okay because the Lord of Resurrection is with me, and I trust him. And I believe that the only security that we'll ever know, the only true security we'll ever know, is when that's enough. When that's enough. And I think it's just it's difficult. But there's a God who shows up in the night shift. There's a God who shows up in the storm. There's a God who shows up in the hospital. There's a God who shows up. And that's, I think, that actually everything else about the life of faith stems from knowing him. Stems from knowing him. And where we can just build our anchor on Jesus. That's the invitation. And that's, I think, but because what's interesting, and what I think what is in our heart, I want to just kind of look at two simple things about who is God in tough and challenging moments. And I think the Bible speaks to this all over the place, but there's nowhere like it, like Psalm 23. And then just how do we hold our confidence of a God who heals in a world of sin and brokenness that we know not only in the scriptures, but in life, not everybody gets healed. And the inevitable tension that creates. Before we do that, one other thing is so unique because it's connected to this. And I don't even know how to hold this. If I'm honest, I don't even know how to hold, like I'm just holding some of this. But when you walk through really dramatic or emotional things, I long to have the maturity to go, I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I'm having a lot of emotions here. What's real? What's not? What's the Lord? What's not? What's the enemy? What's not? I can't fully describe or explain all of those things. So I just have to hold them loosely, let the Lord in time. But, I don't know if people will know this. I shared this with my church, but like 6-7 months ago, I was robbed at gunpoint. So wild in Nashville. It's really crazy, random situation. And it was so fast. It was so terrifying, but it happened so quickly. It was just over before, as much as it began.
Before you could process anything.
And just,
Nashville, your coffee's too expensive.
Stupid Nashville. I still blame Nashville.
And you robbed my husband at gunpoint.
Somebody just came up. I was about to get in my car, and they pulled out a gun, held it at my head, robbed me, left, right? Scary. It lasted like 8 seconds. But I do want to say this. I don't know, things you take pride in that you shouldn't take pride in. I don't know, maybe not. The person who had robbed me was walking away, and you're just kind of in shock. And they're like 15 or 20 feet away from me. And suddenly I just go, hey, you can't do this, right? Like I started walking towards him. And and then I don't know if it was my own mind. I don't know if it was the Holy Spirit. I'll give God the credit for sure. But was just this thought, this voice, Phil, he has a gun. Get in your car and drive away. And so I did. I drove away. That was wild. In that moment, though, like right after it happened, and he was walking away. Well, right before even I said that, I don't know how to describe this. There was this just sense of a demonic presence. Like there was a statement that I would die. I don't know how to describe it. Like not in that moment, but right. it was a statement of the enemy that there was like a spirit of death after me. Now you get out of that and you're like, what's that? Is that fear? Maybe. Is that your brain? Maybe. Is that the Lord, or is that a revelation? I don't know. I really don't, but I know it felt it. I know it felt it in a dramatic way. So I've just held it. And then flash forward, the nation watched through a really unique tragedy in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. That had lots of impact and impacted me personally. And uniquely, it impacted me because I have friends, real friends, that have and are experiencing death threats. And so these stories, it's not just an objective story. It's a story that is in my heart for people I love. And then for me, more than anything, when I travel and speak, what I do outside of the square is I speak on issues of sexuality and gender, a huge conviction in my life, probably the greatest thing the Lord has asked me to do. I'm finishing my second book, which is about this right now, which is speaking into the challenging issues of sexuality in our culture and holding to this vision of a historic Christian sexual ethic and a biblical sexual ethic. I believe it. I have a profound love and mercy for the gay community, for the LGBT community, for the transgender community. And my invitation, though, to stand on the convictions of what we see in Scripture, nonetheless places me, and I've never had anyone say anything like a death threat, not even pretending that. But when you speak on these issues all over the world, in many countries, many states, there are a lot of people who don't like you. I've had some people I know who've said some pretty awful things, but in realm of more like you're just wrong or bad or whatever. But man, I've had some random messages come through. They're like, whoa. So this sense it just took that 1 degree from out there somewhere towards me. And I was in a grief like I have never, you saw me. This was before any of the story that we're walking through. And I just had this moment with the Lord where I said, Jesus, I just want to be faithful to do what you've asked me to do. And if it costs me in my life, I'm willing to give it. If the cost of revival if revival is more served by my death than my life, I give it to you. And it was just, and then again, you're like, what is that? Fear, grief, overreacting. I don't know. But it was a real moment. I can tell you that. And it felt like probably for the first time in my life, there was some kind of, like soberness to like pick up your cross and follow me. It wasn't a sense of fear like I was going to die or a sense of anything like that. It was just, if violence breaks out, if things stumble their way, it just was that one piece. I've never had things like this happen before in my life. And then, sometime later, I found out I have cancer. And so for me, I'm holding all of that. And I go, you know what I still don't know? I still don't know what was a revelation, what was fear, what was natural, what was not natural. Believe in the schemes of the enemy, believe in the wisdom of the Holy Spirit, believe in God using moments to have profound transformation in our life, believe that faithful followers of Jesus at times, and is happening all over the world right now, will be put in harm's way. I believe all those storylines, but I share that because I can't deny that I am in a unique season where there's no statement of the Lord about like, Phil, you're gonna suffer, or Phil, you're gonna die, or Phil, you're gonna do this. Far from it. And if people hear that, that's not what I'm saying. But I am in a distinct season with the Lord, which is undeniable to me, where Jesus is saying, do you trust me with your life? Which means, do you trust me with your death? And I think part of the reason that I'm in some of the space that I'm in right now is because I genuinely think 6-7 weeks ago, whenever that was, like I think I gave Jesus my life and my death. And I just felt this piece of the words of Scripture of, it is not I who live, but Christ who lives in me. Like I've already died. Like I want, and maybe it's longing. I have a lot to grow up in still. Far from arrival on anything. Maybe it's hopefulness. Maybe it's the person I want to be or becoming. But I can tell you, I don't want to live for me. And this has been brewing in me long before this news. But if there is one thing settled in my heart, is that the Lord is the authority of my days. My future is under one authority, and it is the person of Jesus. Cancer has no authority over my life. It doesn't matter how the story plays out. My days are numbered by God. My life is held by God. my future is sustained by God, whether that's a long life, a short life, a life of healing or a life of suffering. This I know. I have one authority, and it is not cancer, and it is not the enemy, and it is not a spirit of death, and it is not a hijacking, and it is not anything in the news. It is not any of my other stories. I have one authority over my life, and it is the person of Jesus, and I trust him. I trust him. And I think that there's a moment in front of us as a church, as a global church, where it is time to contend for a move of God. And all I want to do is contend for that move of God. And I believe this, and not just because of the news that I've had. The single greatest factor of whether we will be a people who contend for a move of God is, are we willing to finally settle the question, is he good? Because what's happened to so many believers, is because that question lingers. You want to know, like you're talking about with this passage? This is what happens to so many people. They read the Bible not to receive from it. They read it with this sinister thought they can't even recognize, searching the scriptures for proof that he isn't as good as he says he is. That finally the revelation, aha, I told you. See, that's the kind of God you are. You're the kind of God who does this. You're the kind of God who does that. You're the kind of, and there's this thing, because we have to settle that question. Because it is only when we are settled there that we have then the strength to go, no matter what comes, no matter what resistance comes, no matter what I walk through, I am going to contend for God to move. And I just believe that's what God is trying to do.
It's beautiful.
I know. I'll say this. If that's what's happening, the Lord is good. I know myself enough to know that, let time evidence it. Let time evidence it. Because whatever strength I have where it's there is him, not me. And I just think there's a revelation of who God is waiting for us. And I think that revelation is Psalm 23. And I don't want to spend a ton of time, but I think there's just an invitation for us in it. So here's where I'm going to read Psalm 23. And Psalm 23 is, John 3:16 is probably the most famous verse in the Bible. Psalm 23 is probably the second most famous. It's incredible. It's beautiful. It's a psalm of David. He writes it in the cave. He's in the middle of challenge and suffering. It's actually a vision of flourishing, but what we don't see is it's a vision of flourishing. Every part of the psalm captured through the imagery of a shepherd and the story of a shepherd is about hardship. The poem is actually about a lot of difficult things. It's about finding God in the pain of the unknown. Flourishing, this is the simple truth, is not when you have everything. It's when you have one thing and you know God is your shepherd. And so I want to read this, and then I want you to just, what is the revelation that you think Psalm 23 has for us about trusting God into the unknown? And how do we trust God at the unknown? This is what it says. The Lord is my shepherd. I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. It's so incredible. I would say David's an amazing writer. The Holy Spirit's an amazing writer. There's a reason it's the second most famous passage in the Bible, because it speaks of the very deepest longings of our life. And it's our anchor. There's a God in the unknown, and he's a God worth finding and trusting. But I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, first, I'm struck. I don't know if you know this. In verse 6, yours says love and mine says mercy. And then the footnote says kindness. So it's got to be chesed, right?
It's chesed, yeah. Which is God's loving kindness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just interesting how it can be translated different ways. I think what strikes me the most, you've taught on this in church before. Every picture holds significance in the life of a shepherd. The background, historical, what it was like. But it's what strikes me is that it is a journey.
Yeah.
Right? Like there is movement in the poem. You are going from green pastures to still waters. You're on the right paths. You're through the darkest valley. And then kind of this ending of the table being prepared. And then the goodness and mercy shall follow me. Like it's a movement. You are not sitting still while the Lord shepherds you.
Yeah.
You are moving. And then even in the end, you can see David wrap this up. I will dwell in the house of the Lord my whole life long. This is a whole lifelong poem
and
that you can find yourself in.
I don't want to interrupt.
Constantly.
Stay all your thoughts, but just, I mean, even more in like the specifics of what you're saying, because we're not familiar with 3,000-year-old agricultural shepherd practices, though they're still absolutely being practiced by the Bedouin shepherds in Israel today. This is the journey, the exact journey that a shepherd takes his sheep on from where they are in green pastures to the table, which is a dual meaning, but a table in a plateau is the goal of where you're getting your sheep to that they can flourish. And of course, so it's a journey towards something, but where is the end? It's the house of the Lord. That's the beautiful thing when we see the movement of it, is that our shepherd is leading us to the place we belong, which is the house of the Lord. And it's such an incredible picture. So anyways, I want you to keep going.
Whether or not you believe it or feel it, the promise of Psalm 23 is that you have everything you want because Jesus is with you.
Yeah.
And I think as believers, we don't actually believe that. And it's okay. Our humanity is real, and God knows because he became human. But like, what does it mean for me to say, no matter what else, I'm okay. I have everything I need because the Lord is with me. And I think I can say this because I haven't suffered very much. Like I really haven't. We've had really beautiful, blessed lives. I know that there is like a side of God I don't know because I haven't suffered.
Yeah.
I don't want it enough to pray for suffering. Maybe I should. I don't know. But I recognize it's a lack in my life, that there is a way people know Jesus that I don't know Jesus. But getting from I cognitively believe that to being like, I'll be okay in suffering because I have Jesus, I don't think it happens cognitively. I think it only happens experientially. Yeah. I think people who've gone through suffering and come out the other side with Jesus are far more moved by Psalm 23 than I am.
Yeah, I understand that. And I think that, that's the invitation of scriptures, isn't it? That we see suffering differently than the Bible does, than the first followers of Jesus did. And that statement of Paul, I want to know you in the depths of your sufferings, and I want to know you in the heights of your resurrection. And realizing it's not the same thing. Same God. But there is a knowing Jesus that only comes when you know him in resurrection. But there is a knowing Jesus that only comes when you know him in suffering. And I don't think any of us need to ask for it, but when it comes, the invitation is to trust. And I think for me, the most moving part of the psalm, and I also have not had a life I'm really blessed about the life the Lord has led me in. My story is really marked by my best friend dying when I was a teenager, and my prodigal season and those kind of things. But I recognize the unique blessing of God in my life. But is of course that the line of the psalm, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for you are with me. And I remember when we were in Israel and I found out really what that meant, that the valleys in Israel, they're not like what we think they are. They're these little crevices of the mountainside. You're not going through this like beloved,
just this deep
Swiss
valley
Alps,
between two mountains.
We're not. That's not what it's talking about.
Like
the valleys in Israel
through rocks.
is literally this 2-3 foot pathway through this mountainside. And so what it does is it stretches out the sheep into a single line, and the shepherd's there, but it's where the sheep become most vulnerable to attack from wolves. And that hit me. It's like, oh, the valley of the shadow of death is the place I'm most vulnerable. Yeah. It's, in my own language, it's like, oh, it's the valley of my vulnerabilities where I can't protect myself. That's what that is. The place where I can't protect myself. In the place I can't protect myself, I will fear no evil. For you are with me.
Also strikes me that it doesn't say I will fear no pain or I'll feel no suffering. That's not what it's promising. It's saying evil doesn't get a say in your story.
Yeah.
Because Jesus is with you. Not that suffering won't happen or that pain won't happen.
Yeah.
But that the schemes of the enemy,
evil. Can I just say one of my favorite pictures of my life, seriously, is you holding that little lamb in Israel. When we were there, when you're in Israel and you're there, you should go. It's amazing. And my love, I mean, just the power of being in the land of the scriptures where Jesus was. It's hard to describe how significant it is. The people, we have so many Messianic friends. We have so many Jewish friends. We have so many Palestinian Christian friends, people I actually know now. And we're there, and when you're in Bethlehem's in the West Bank, it's in the Palestinian community. And there's always where you kind of go, and the shepherds, there's still people shepherding. There's always this little kid. I've met him now several times. He's getting older, and he's got a little lamb. You can take money and picture with him, and I just love it. It's the most touristy thing, but why not? I would say if I bring up a picture of you and I'm like, I love that picture. It's that picture of you holding that little lamb, because it's just such a beautiful moment. But I think this is the journey. And what I want to say for all of us.
Just imagine how cute I'll look with a dog.
Real cute. We'll get the same pictures and I'll post it. That's what I'll do. But I think but here's the encouragement. Psalm 23 is a journey of your life.
Yeah.
It's not the journey of a moment. Mm-hmm. The house of the Lord is not a house that's here. He's not talking about the temple. He's talking about going home with the Lord. It's actually, in some ways, a journey from life to death itself. And Hebrews reminds us that people of faith are always longing for a house not built by the hands of men, but a house built by God himself. Mm-hmm. It's the journey. Our whole life is learning Psalm 23. Our whole life is discovering new fears, new anxieties, new places we don't trust our shepherd, and just coming back to going, I have one hope. I have one hope. I want to hear from you just, as we're sharing all of this. I think the challenge of not just trusting God in the unknown, trusting the goodness of God, is just the tension of being people who really believe that God heals. Mm-hmm. And yet wanting to be both faithful to the scriptures and faithful to reality, and holding on to the promises of Jesus in the midst of the tension of it all. And so I just want to hear your heart, your thoughts on what that looks like, how you hold that, how we should hold that, what the Bible speaks to in that, and what it looks like to be a people who believe in healing.
I find that we hold God to a standard that we rarely walk out in the rest of our life, which is this. If I don't understand it, I don't trust it.
Yeah.
God, if I don't understand why you heal and why you don't heal, I don't trust you. If I don't understand why you provided here and didn't provide here, I don't trust you. I don't understand why this person passed away and why this person didn't. I don't trust you. And granted, God is God. Like, surely the deepest questions of our lives should be postured towards him. Like, he should get the deepest of our thoughts and the deepest of our wrestlings. Yeah. But we don't actually hold anything else in our life to that standard. I get on an airplane once a month. I trust
Not anymore.
it. Not anymore. I trust it, but I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Like, I know whatever, lift, thrust, Bernoulli effect. I can't build an airplane. I can't tell you what things do. I can't tell you anything except the basic understanding of physics, basic. And yet I trust my life to it,
Yeah.
even when planes also crash. So it's not even a foolproof. But you know why? It's because I trust the people who are telling me it's trustworthy.
Yes.
I trust the engineers who built it and designed it. I trust the pilot. I trust Delta, not because they love me, but because they have billions of dollars invested in making sure planes don't crash.
Yes.
Like, what is most important to them? Their money? I trust that. Right? And
Yeah,
I
for sure.
don't understand it, but I trust it enough to put my life in it. And yet with God, we're like, we don't understand this. I have to understand everything to trust it. And it's not a fair thing to, in my opinion, put on God when we don't even do it other places, because what I trust is like, man, think the testimony of others, the ways I have seen God move.
Yep.
I trust the Bible. Like, it actually has never let me down.
Yep.
Even though I've been disappointed, right? It's never been found false. And so we have in scripture what look to be dichotomies, where we see Peter say, when someone's sick, lay hands on them and pray, anoint them with oil, have the elders pray for them. And we see Jesus healing people, and we see Paul's handkerchief healing. Like, we see that there's healing, and we see healing come through prayer. Like, that is true.
Yes.
There is miraculous healing in the Bible, and it comes through prayer. What is also true is that Jesus tells us to pray. What is also true is that Stephen got stoned to death.
And he stayed dead.
And he stayed dead. What is also true is that Paul got beheaded by Nero. What is also true is that James died really early on in Acts.
Yeah.
And his brother had to live till he was 90.
Yeah.
Seeing, living without James. And so if the Bible isn't ashamed or embarrassed or trying to hide that dichotomy, then I have to trust that dichotomy is fully in the hands of God, even though I don't understand it.
Yes.
So all I can do, like I can do with anything else in my life, is be obedient. The minute I stop praying for healing is the minute I'm disobedient to what the word says. Yeah. Not the minute I wonder if it's going to work, or the minute I'm a little embarrassed if it doesn't, or if I'm don't really know. Like, none of that is wrong.
Yes.
What's wrong is when I stop being obedient because I don't understand.
So good.
And everything else I just have to trust. Like, the Bible doesn't make us any promises that aren't true. And people die in the Bible.
Yeah.
People get sick in the Bible. People stay sick in the Bible. But people are resurrected in the Bible. And people are healed in the Bible.
Yep.
And it's not up to me to decide when or how that happens. It's up to me to say, I'm going to pray for the sick.
Oh, Emily, I actually think that's you need to teach on this. I think it's such a revelation, because when we settle that, then we can humble ourselves and go, okay, I just want to learn. I want to grow. It's that truth doesn't then mean I don't have a place, or I don't need to grow, or I don't have a responsibility, or that it actually frees us to go, well, let's just learn, rather than always, this is what we do. We make it easier than it is to then not have to do work.
Abdicate our responsibility
and accuse.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that.
Gosh, it always feels like, don't we always abdicate and then accuse?
Abdicate and accuse.
It is hard to accuse. It's hard to accuse when you're working faithfully towards something.
What a trap the enemy has put the church in. And that's the thing. And listen, and we do both understand this. There are some passages in the Bible that are like, how do I hold that? But this is what happens when we're biblically illiterate, which we are as a church, and then we don't know the whole of the story, then we don't know how to hold it. Because when we know the book that we've been given actually says, hey, the miraculous is possible, and suffering is coming, and there's a tension that's going to exist between them, then, because this is what happens. People go and they get here, and I don't blame them for getting, like, I'm not here to, where people, even you're listening to this and you feel this. We get here because we're not a people of the whole story, but we go, well, I think the Bible's lying to me. I read James, I read Peter,
right.
And the Bible's lying to me. And it's like, no, the Bible's not lying to you. And until you know that, because you have to settle that the story we've been given is a God who heals, and stories that don't end in healing. And it doesn't give us
and the Bible
perfect
says both.
answer to
like
it.
If the Bible's not trying to hide it.
It's not trying to hide it. You're not being deceived. So then let's start there.
There's no aha. I hate it when people are like, I gotcha moment in the Bible. I'm like, well, I don't know. James
Yeah.
saw John die too when he wrote James.
Yeah. And Tim's sick.
James saw James die, is what I was saying.
Timothy's sick.
Yeah.
And Paul doesn't say,
Where's your faith?
Grow up your faith, bro. He's like, drink some wine. Which is, you know what I mean? There's just a lot of stories in the midst of it. And I think for us, because what I want to say goes back to that thing, when we don't have the goodness of God settled, this is crazy. You read the Bible to find the loophole to accuse God. Oh.
But if you are settled in the goodness of God, you look for it in a story until you find it.
Yep, that's right. That's right. And I want to say this. We're on a journey. We're gonna learn. And I believe God for supernatural healing. And it doesn't mean that I am guaranteed that it will happen. You know, I think this is a tension I've experienced as a pastor. You've experienced as a pastor. And I don't have perfect answers for this because I actually I think the perfect answer is that God's good. I think there are some things that we're longing, like you're talking about, we're longing for a clarity that God actually is not going to give us because the clarity is not what we need. What we really need is to know he's good. That's the real answer. And I know this is like a way oversimplification of the book of Job. And you have a lot of, like, Job has so much to offer us, but if I could boil Job down to one thought, which is unfair, but it's that we have no clue what suffering is really about. The only person who knows the story of suffering and the only person who's trustworthy with it is him, is God. And it's an invitation into that I think we often miss. And I just want to be somebody who grows in trusting God. And I think it matters. And I know it matters because of some mysteries in the Bible. Like here's, one of the craziest mysteries in the Bible is Jesus in Nazareth. Goes to his hometown, they mock him. They say these things that don't feel that rough. They're much rougher in the context of Jewish culture. Isn't it Joseph's son? Don't we know his sisters? They're basically saying, you are a nobody. We saw you grow up. You're that bastard kid. We know you. You're here to tell us you're the Messiah. You think you can do this here? Right? That they mock Jesus. There's not faith. And it says, it doesn't say that Jesus didn't heal. It says that he couldn't heal. What? The Son of God, fully man, the incarnate reality of the world. What? That's wild to me. But I don't know. I have lots of thoughts, but I just say there's a mystery there. There's a mystery that there is some form of when cynicism,
that we carry,
hardness, and mockery enter an environment. It robs what the Spirit can do, what the power of Jesus can do. There's something in there about collective faith too. I think this is something, we're such an individualistic society that we don't understand this. There's not just something about my faith, there's something about our faith. I don't know the perfect answers on that. I also love the story of Jesus, the man who cries out for the healing of his child and says, if you can. And that's the beauty of the biblical stories. They're so human. How many times we felt that, if you can, and Jesus says, if I can, I can. Yeah, I can. If you could believe. And his response of, I believe you, help me with my unbelief. I can't tell you how many times I've prayed that prayer. Jesus, I believe you and I don't believe you. Help me. But you want to know what I love about that? That was enough faith. I believe you and I don't believe you was enough faith. And I think sometimes what we forget is that the greatest expression of faith we can offer is the sincerity of where it's at, without cynicism, with a desire to go, Jesus, help me. Jesus, help me. So I think that we have to become learners again, because it's a place that we want to just have this protective, I have every answer to every question. What it does is it makes us actually not know anything. We can't have the freedom to ask the questions we need to ask because we're actually always just trying to protect ourselves. But I don't think we need to do that. Yeah. So, journey into the unknown. What are your last thoughts, babe?
I want to be the kind of faithful believer of Jesus and his word that I go into a situation saying, but what if today is the day he heals? What if today is the day? Like, what if this prayer is the one? What if this time is the time? I think of it as like looking for ketchup in the fridge. If I know it's in there, I'm going to find it. I will look till I find it.
Yeah.
You don't look until you find it because you actually don't really know if it's there or not. You didn't put it in the fridge from Costco the other day. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, someone might use it. Someone throw. I'm like, I know it's in there. And I will look till I find it.
Yeah.
That's what faith is to me. I'm going to look for it till I find it. Like, I'm going to look for goodness till I find it. I'm going to look for healing till I find it. I'm going to pray for it till I see it because I believe that much. And just very practically, how many times do we tell our kids to look for something and they don't see it the first, second, third time? It doesn't have anything to do with whether it's there or not. It has everything to do with whether they trust that if they keep looking, they'll find it.
They know it's
I
there.
want to live that kind of life with healing. And of course, there might be like, this feels like a throwaway thing that adults used to say to make you feel better. Like, well, Grandpa got healed in heaven. Like, he's whole now. That's not a throwaway line. That's everything we long for. If this body isn't healed in heaven, like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
That is the hope. And sometimes healing doesn't come until heaven. That's still that's not a cheap healing.
No.
That's the best healing we can hope for. The cheaper healing is the healing we get on this side of heaven. So I don't say that cheaply, that like sometimes healing won't come until people get the resurrected body. That is true. But I want to look for healing up until the day I die. Like, I want to be praying and contending and obedient in faith until I see it come to pass.
Yeah, that's it.
That's who I want to be.
Yep. Me too.
I'll pray for a dead lizard for 3 days.
That's
Who
right.
knows?
We serve a God who does miraculous things.
Yeah.
And he loves us.
I want to be surprised by it. And like, of course, like, I want to walk that line.
And we've seen it. Because we're not just talking about a belief in healing because we read it in the Bible. We've seen it.
Yeah.
We've seen a God who heals. And I just think we want to live in a way. I'd rather limp to heaven disappointed from what I thought was possible than get to heaven about how much was possible because I was just so jaded.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love you, sweetheart.
Thanks, babe. I love you too.
Thanks for walking into the valley of the shadow of death with me.
Yeah. When you were talking about those experiences with God, it felt a little bit like, you know, in YWAM, they're like, rule number 1, don't tell a girl God told you to marry them. Like, if, you know, like, God told me I was going to marry you, you're not allowed to say that, boys. Because the girls are like, well, he didn't tell me. I'm like, Lord, you gotta have those conversations with me about my husband dying? Like, I feel like I get a little bit of this experience. Like, you gonna move anything in my heart? I'm the one who has to stay around if you take him.
So
I feel like I deserve some of these moments with the Lord.
listen, I have one request for everyone who's listening. I have genuinely every confidence in the natural and in the supernatural. I'm going to be fine. I just am putting this out for posterity's sake.
I cannot wait to hear what you're about to say.
If I'm not, and I die one day,
You're going to die one day.
I know, but more quickly than people would want. I have one request. I know Emily's going to eventually remarry somebody. And all I ask is that you hate him.
I don't even think that's true. I think we're past the age of being sure I'll remarry.
Not forever. I'll
just date around for fun. You can hate lots of people.
A collective, just go, in the name of Phil, we don't like you.
Yeah. It's fine. It's not going to happen.
Too soon? It's not going to happen.
Too soon.
No, wait. God is so good. God is so good. If you are walking through trials, if you're walking through sickness, if you're walking through confusion, we mean this. We believe God to do a miraculous thing in you. And I don't say this cheaply. The greatest healing that has to happen is the healing of your heart that trusts in the goodness of God. And everything else will flow from there. So I pray for those who are walking through stories they don't want to be in, that you find the shepherd of Psalm 23, the God who is with you that you can say, the Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing, because it's true. Yeah.
Amen.
Amen.
See you next time.